All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Kelsey Scroggin, and I am this year's president of the Emerging Professionals Program. We are so thankful that you are able to join us here today for our first quarterly membership forum of the new fiscal year. To give you an idea of how today's forum will run, we will quickly talk about what we've been up to since we last met, things we currently have going on, and then we'll get into the bulk of our program, which is talking about community engagement opportunities with our three wonderful speakers here today. So what have we been up to since we last met in June? Well, the first thing was our first annual summer picnic. We held this back in July, and we welcomed over 75 colleagues on a very warm, sunny day. We had free tacos for the first 50, some yard games, and membership tables for attendees to stop at. And just quickly want to say thank you to our fellow ERGs, the Administrative Professionals Network, the LGBTQ Employee Alliance, and RISE for being there and hosting tables alongside us. We appreciate you so much for joining us that afternoon. We also had our first volunteer opportunity with United Way of the Midlands for their Shine Bright event. So this was a 2-day event where volunteers helped assemble over 4,700 hygiene kits for local kids in the OPS, Council Bluffs, and Papillion-La Vista school districts. And so as you can see in that second picture there, these kits included full-sized hygiene items such as soap, shampoo, body wash, and dental products. This is actually the third time that our program has volunteered with United Way on the Shine Bright initiative, and excited to announce that we had not only 50 colleagues join us last month for this event, but in total, our Med Center colleagues have given over 210 hours to the program, which is wonderful to see. So thank you so much to those of you who joined us not only last month, but in years prior with this event. And finally, we've been busy with membership related events. So in August, we participated in UNMC's Student Involvement Fair, as well as the Nebraska Medicine New Colleague Orientation. And then most recently, last week, we actually had a table and presented at the State of Inclusion and talked a little bit more about our program and our strategic plan for this year. So that's kind of what we've been doing since July. And now kind of what do we have currently going on? So one of the biggest things for us is our membership survey. So we just sent this out in our newsletter on Friday. We're encouraging all of our members to fill out this quick survey just to help us as we continue planning for the fiscal year with not only events, but also some time frames that work best for our members. It is an anonymous survey, but there's an opportunity at the end for you to put your name and email for an opportunity to win some EPP swag or a gift card. This QR code here will take you directly to that survey if you'd be so willing to fill that out for us. Shouldn't take any more than 5 minutes of your time. I will leave this up as I tell you a little bit about the other two opportunities that we have going on. So next week, we will actually be participating in the Clarkson College Wellness Fair. And so for those who may not know, our ERGs are actually open to all UNMC, Nebraska Medicine, and Clarkson College colleagues and students. So we haven't really had an opportunity to engage with Clarkson College before. So really looking forward to attending their fair and engaging with their students and colleagues as well. And then we'll also be attending our UNMC Nebraska Medicine Wellness Fair on October 4th over at the Center for Healthy Living, 11:30 to 1:30. So hoping you can stop by and see us there. We'll have some goodies. I know they also do some fun raffle prizes for attendees as well. So if that's an incentive for you, be sure to see us there. And then finally, we are working with the Methodist Emerging Professionals Program on a social networking / toy drive for later December or early December, late November. So keep your eye out on that information. So that is really quickly what we've been doing, what we have going on currently, but wanted to turn this program now really over to our guest speakers so that they can talk a little bit about themselves and their organization and volunteer opportunities. So we will introduce each guest speaker prior to their presentation. And then at the end of our third guest speaker, we will have a Q&A session. But as these individuals are speaking, if you have questions, feel free to put those into the chat box. The only thing we ask is that you just put after your question in parentheses who the question is directed to. So in our Q&A session, we're able to better direct those. So we will start off with the Monroe Meyer Institute with Savannah Bowling. And so Savannah was hired by Monroe Meyer a year after completing an internship with the Recreational Therapy Department. She started out as MMI as one of 3 therapists on the Millard Social Club pilot program, and eventually moved on to planning and coordinating the Cooking Club program, where she worked with adult participants on food and kitchen safety, cooking skills, as well as socialization. In January of 2021, she took on the volunteer coordinator position, where she works with students and schools in the area to train and prepare them on working with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Welcome, Savannah.
Thank you, Kelsey. Like she just said, I started as an intern here at Monroe Meyer Institute. I'm originally from South Carolina and went to Clemson University. My degree is in Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management with a concentration in recreation therapy. I began as a recreation technician here at MMI and then transitioned to adaptive therapy specialist. And now I'm an adaptive therapy specialist as well as the volunteer coordinator, like she mentioned. So I'm really happy to be here, excited to chat with y'all and give you some insight about what we do, what MMI is, and just a little more detail about recreation therapy so you have a more clear understanding of it. So MMI, what we like to call it, is a one-stop shop for people with intellectual developmental disabilities. It's a facility that offers more than 100 services to people with IDD. So just a brief history. So it opened in 1919. The Society for the Relief of the Disabled formed a new charity dedicated to providing therapy and braces for children impacted by the polio epidemic. In 1922, it was founded as the Hattie Baker Monroe Home for Convalescing Crippled Children. And then in 1997, the Meyer Rehabilitation Institute and the Hattie B. Monroe Pavilion became the Monroe Meyer Institute for Genetics and Rehabilitation. In 2009, MMI becomes an academic unit of UNMC. And then in 2021, we moved to our new location. So I was lucky enough to get to experience the old building as well as the new building. We're very fortunate to have this new space. We have a lot of state-of-the-art equipment that we're able to better serve people with intellectual developmental disabilities. We have services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, recreational therapy, psychological services, genetic evaluation, assistive technology, autism assessment and treatment, speech-language pathology, and more. And MMI is supported by 5 philanthropic boards. So there's the MMI Board of Directors, Hattie B. Monroe Foundation, Meyer Foundation for Disabilities, Monroe Meyer Guild, and the Scottish Rite Foundations of Nebraska. Our current director is Dr. Karoli Mirnix, and he does a wonderful job with us and is able to really, stay focused on serving how to best serve people with intellectual disabilities. And he really is supportive. We love working with him and being able to provide all these services. So moving into what recreation therapy is, so not to get all technical, but ATRA. So recreation therapy was defined by the American Therapeutic Recreation Association as a treatment service designed to restore, remediate, and rehabilitate a person's level of functioning and independence in life activities, to promote health and wellness as reduce or eliminate the activity limitations and restrictions to participation in life situations caused by illness or disabling condition. Basically, all that to say, we use play, recreation, and leisure activities to improve physical, cognitive, social, and emotional functioning. I had a professor describe it in college as we like to focus on the ability of the person rather than the disability they're living with. We really like to highlight what they're able to do and run with that. So like Kelsey mentioned, for example, I work our cooking club. So I plan and coordinate everything. We bring in 24 participants, so 8 people each night. We do it a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we come in, we cook a full meal from scratch. We work together on knife safety, kitchen safety. We're around hot surfaces, the ovens. We try to teach the importance of staying away from that when it's turned on, or how to be careful when you're around those things. We work on a big thing that we work on in the recreation therapy department is the social aspect of living. So we are always looking for opportunities to improve their social skills, whether it be here at the center or out in the community. We have a lot of community outing programs that meet once a month, and they go out into the community. So like right now we're starting to get into the fall season. So we've had groups go to the apple orchard. We'll go to the pumpkin patch. Sometimes we go to like outdoor concerts or movies or bowling. We've been to Lauritzen Gardens, Fontenelle Forest, all sorts of places in the community that allow us to teach our participants social skills and how to interact with people in public, how to conduct themselves when they're in public, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, all sorts of things like that. So, what we're most known for in the recreation therapy department is Camp Monroe. This is our summer camp for people aged 3 to 21. We serve people that all have intellectual developmental disabilities. And they go through an application process. So once we get a new participant, we go through an intake. So that's a phone call with them, the parent or guardian or staff, about whether or not they're appropriate for our programming. And then once they're accepted, they get applications for all of our programs. So they get the application, fill it out, send it in, and then we decide if they're confirmed for the program or not. So summer camp was founded in 1982 when OPS lost their summer funding. Hattie B. Monroe staff really wanted to start something for the children that they were serving. So they raised money through bake sales, auctions, and a benefit stance, and they had a really great response. Since we started, they started with about 20 kids, and now we serve over 250 kids each summer. This summer, that number actually went up, and I believe it's more like 275 to 280 because we were able to add a 7th week. So summer camp typically up until this point has lasted 6 weeks of the summer. But this year, like I said, we added a 7th week. So we're able to serve more kids and get the word out about our programs. So we're really fortunate for that because we just want to serve as many people as we possibly can. So yeah, we have grown tremendously over the last 40 years within this program. So other things that we do are we offer recreation. So what's unique about our department is that we offer services to people aged 3 and up. So we don't have an age cap on our program. So it's very fun because we get to serve kids as young as 3, 4, 5, and then people in their later in life that are in their 60s, maybe even 70s. So it's really fun to get to serve across the lifespan. We get to see a lot of different things. It keeps us on our toes. We get to be more creative in programming because we're catering to all different ages. Some of the activities that we like to do at our programs are art, community outings, cooking, crafts, dance, music, organized games and sports, swimming, and then other developmental recreational activities. So like I mentioned, am responsible for all of our volunteers that come through the program. So we offer year-round programs to students age 13 and up. Typically the age is 13 to 25, but we do offer services or opportunities to people who are on an educational pathway. So age is not always, we don't always limit it to 25. If someone older than that is on an educational pathway or still in school, we definitely still offer them a position to get in and volunteer with us. So the programs that we offer for volunteering are summer camp, adult evening, after school, winter camp, Saturday morning, and then our adaptive sports program. So all of these opportunities look a little different. So some of them are 5 days a week. So like our summer camp is you sign up for 5 days and you're here Monday through Friday, 9 to 3:45. Whereas our spring and fall programs like Saturday morning and after school and adult evening are 1 day a week, but multi-week. So they sign up for 6-week sessions and they come in with us. They're here for about 2.5 hours, depending on whatever program they're on. They volunteer and then they go home and then they come back the next week. So we have lots of different opportunities. We really try to work with the schools, making sure that we can get students in and that we're working with their schedule just like they're working with our schedule. So yeah, we're really excited about all the volunteers that we've had come through the program. I've really enjoyed being in this position because you get to meet lots of new students. What's really nice is that we don't require any history. So you don't have to have history of working with people with IDD to volunteer with us. We want to educate people on how to work with people with IDD. So we're excited to have people come in with no experience because we want to help them learn how to work with people with IDD and how to help them. We don't limit it to a certain major or field. We have all sorts of healthcare fields within our department, whether it be volunteers or part-time staff. Our part-time staff, there is about 75, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, and they work all of our programs throughout the year. You do have to have, in order to become a staff, you have to have 50 hours of volunteering experience or babysitting or nannying experience. And then you can apply and go through the interview process and become a staff if that's what you're excited about. To be a volunteer, we don't have a background check required, but since we don't do that, there are limitations on what our volunteers are able to do. So our volunteers, I always like to say the volunteers are kind of like our campers hype person. So they're here to make sure they're having fun, they're engaged, they're being socially appropriate. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, whether that be the activity or following the rules. So yeah, we really have a great opportunity here at MMI for volunteering. It's a very easy process to get signed up. What you do is fill out the application and then attend a mandatory training that I host. So in the summer, I host 3 separate trainings, and then in the spring and fall, I offer 2 separate dates. One before the first session and one before the second session begins. So if someone wants to sign up later, like if anyone on here is interested in getting some volunteer hours or know someone, they can still sign up. I do have room on some of my programs. You can just reach out to me and I can get them set up. So yeah, that is pretty much what we do as far as volunteering. And then in the recreation therapy department, that's pretty much all I have. So I hope people have questions. I hope I didn't leave anything out. I really appreciate everyone listening, and I'm looking forward to chatting more with y'all.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Savannah. We're just going to go right into our next presenter. So our next presenter is Tori Peterson, who is the Training and Mentor Recruitment Coordinator with Teammates Mentoring Program. In this role, Tori designs learning opportunities for volunteers on how to build meaningful relationships with students. With a Bachelor of Science in Leadership Education from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and as a Gallup certified strengths coach, Tori uses her passion for helping people recognize and develop their talents and prepare mentors to make the greatest impact on mentees in our community. So welcome, Tori.
Thanks so much, Kelsey. And I am going to share my screen really quick here. All right, I've just got a short PowerPoint for you all, mostly to keep me on track, but also just to make sure I don't miss any information for you all. So to start us off, I want to introduce you to who Teammates is as an organization. So many of you may be familiar with Teammates, but if you're not, Teammates was founded in 1991 by University of Nebraska-Lincoln football coach Tom Osborne and his wife Nancy. It started with 22 of Tom's football players mentoring middle school boys in the Lincoln Public School District. Of those initial 22 students who were mentored, 21 of them graduated high school on time, and the one who did not was pursuing a professional career in motocross, and he then went back to graduate a year later. And of the 22 students, 18 of them went on to pursue post-secondary education. And so what Tom and Nancy realized was that mentoring has a significant impact on students, and they wanted to be able to create opportunities for more students to have a safe and caring adult in their life who can be there to encourage them and to help support them in whatever it is that they are striving for. And so our mission as an organization is to positively impact the world by inspiring students to reach their full potential through mentoring. What's great about Teammates is that we are a program for all students, and we're not an at-risk program. And so any student who wants to be a part of Teammates, we want them to be in the program. And so what that means is that for you all as mentors, you are meeting with students that want to be in the program, not students that are forced to be in the program. And so they're excited to get to spend time with you. They're excited to get to know you and have you as a support person in their life. Currently, Teammates exists in 5 states. We are in Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, South Dakota, and Wyoming. So if not all of you are in the Omaha area, there very likely is a Teammates chapter near you. So if you are interested, we can get you connected either somewhere close to work, somewhere close to home, whatever is going to be the easiest option for you. And so a few keywords that we like to use to describe Teammates mentors is that Teammates mentors are promise keepers, they're bucket fillers, they're safe adult friends, they're cheerleaders, and they're strength spotters. What's really nice about Teammates as a mentoring program is that we are a developmental program, which means that our focus is on building a relationship with that student. You're not there to tutor them. You're not there to make sure that they stay out of trouble. Those are byproducts that happens because of the relationship that you build with them. And so you get to hang out with your mentee each week. You get to spend time talking about the things that matter to them, about the dreams that they have, about what's been going on at school. You get to play games with them. And because of that time you spend with them, they are more encouraged and more hopeful, which Gallup has shown through their research that hope is the greatest indicator of success. And so because of the time that you get to spend with your mentee each week, they are more hopeful individuals, which leads them to have higher levels of well-being and greater academic success. And so what's awesome is your mentee is doing better in school and they're more engaged, but you don't have to sit there and do homework with them. You get to play games like Connect 4 or Uno. You get to sit and chat, draw pictures. And so it's a great opportunity for you to get to invest in somebody that takes no outside qualifications of you knowing how to do high school algebra or middle school science or any of those things that are very intimidating to all of us as adults. You get to just be a supportive person for that young person. Now, Teammates is a strengths-based program. And so what that means is that we focus on looking for the good in our students and looking for the good in our mentors. We don't want our matches to meet and think about all the things that are wrong with them and how they're supposed to fix them and tackle these challenges that seem out of reach. Instead, we want our matches to focus on what are the students doing well? Where are the areas that they shine? And it doesn't mean we ignore problems that they face because life happens and things are hard and we all run into roadblocks. But instead of focusing on everything going wrong, we want to focus on what skills and what talents the student has that can equip them to overcome the challenges that they're facing. And so as mentors, you get to be what we call strength spotters. And so you get to look out for the things that your mentee does really well. Maybe they're really creative. Maybe they're really artistic. Maybe they're great at coming up with stories. Maybe they're great at just making friends with people in their class. And you get to be somebody who points that out to them and helps them find ways that they can use that to be successful in their personal life, in their academic life, and beyond in the goals that they're setting. And so at Teammates, we match based off of interests, and we also try to cater to what's going to work best for the mentor. And so you get the opportunity to choose the age of your mentee. You can choose what grade or what school that you mentor at. So if you want to mentor at somewhere that's next to work or next to home, you can do that. If you're from Omaha and you want to mentor at a school that you attended as a student, you can do that too. But you also get that choice in what age range are you working with. And so for me, I love working with high school students because I love the conversations that you get to have. And so I'm currently mentoring a sophomore in high school. But for those of you who have that energy and creativity and love working with the younger kiddos, we start at 3rd grade. And so you can mentor any student from 3rd grade through high school. And we even have a post-secondary program. And so if you're interested in mentoring students in a 2-year, 4-year program, a trade school, any kind of post-secondary education, you can do that as well. Now at Teammates, we match based off of interests. And so we try to get to know you. And so we do that through our mentor training that we host. And we also do that through some interest forms, and just really try to find out, what are you passionate about? What are your hobbies? What kind of personality traits do you have? And what kind of mentee could really benefit from that? We have a waiting list in the Omaha area of around 400 students that are waiting for mentors. And the reason for that is because we match really intentionally. We are a program that accepts any student that gets parent permission. And so we have a lot of students that want mentors, but we don't want to match a mentor and a mentee just because they're both there. We want to make sure they're going to have a good connection and be able to build a strong relationship. And so we try to find mentors who maybe have similar interests as mentees. Maybe they like the same sports. Maybe they're both from out of state and they moved to Nebraska. Maybe we've got a mentee that loves to talk and a mentor that loves to listen. I'll say that's me and my mentee. She talks from the minute I sit down until the minute that I leave. And so we want to make sure that we are connecting you with students that you're going to be able to build a strong relationship with. And so we're very intentional about the way that we match our mentees and our mentors, because we want them to have that really positive experience and we want that relationship to last. And so when you're meeting with your mentees, it's really open to your creativity and how you spend that time together. And so you have the opportunity to play games with them. Maybe you're doing some crafts. You might be going on a walk around the school, reading books together. It's really up to what your interests are and what the mentee's interests are. We are a mentee-driven program, and so we want mentees to really have the say in how they're spending their time together. Which means that if your mentee doesn't want to talk about homework, you don't have to talk about homework. If your mentee wants to spend that time together playing Uno or Connect Four, that's what you get to do. If they want to spend time drawing pictures, then you get to become a really great artist. And so it's really open to your creativity and what is exciting for you all to do when you spend time together. We are a school-based program, and so all of our meetings take place at the school and communication happens through the school. And that's to protect the mentee's safety. Now, what's really nice about that is that it gives you the opportunity to meet with a mentee and at a time that's not impeding on family time. That's something that we hear a lot of concerns from mentors, is they don't want to take time away from their own kids they have. But because you're meeting during the school day, it's not conflicting with any family time. And what's nice is if you're able to use your lunch break, then you're not having to have that interfere with work either. And so in talking about the time commitment, you will meet once a week with your student throughout the school year. And so because we are a school-based program, all of our meetings take place only when school's in session. And so you typically will start meeting with your mentee after Labor Day, and you'll meet with them until school gets out, and then you get the summers off to enjoy family vacations, go on trips, just get a little break to relax and recharge before you start meeting with your mentee again in the fall. These meetings range 30 minutes to an hour. That kind of depends on the school district that you're in and the age of your mentee. Older mentees typically meet over the lunchtime, which means it's closer to 30 minutes. Younger mentees might have a study hall or a specials class that they can get pulled from, and then you might get closer to 45 minutes to an hour. But this just varies based on the school you're at. And our hope is that when you choose to mentor, you're committing to that student to be able to stick with them through high school graduation or even college graduation. Now, I don't want to say that to scare you. We understand life happens, and if you are somebody that can only commit to a few years, maybe think about picking up a high schooler. Or if you can only commit to 1 or 2 years, think about picking up a junior or a senior in high school, because we have juniors and seniors that want mentors that are not currently matched. But if you're somebody that loves working with those younger kiddos and you want to stick with them in the long term, we would love to have you as somebody who is with them each year as they go through school. We have a lot of mentors who have gone through multiple cycles of taking students from 3rd grade through high school, and then they pick up a new mentee, and they really get to see the growth of that student over time and be that consistent person who is there to support them and encourage them and really help guide them through the life decisions that they're making. And so with that, I want to talk about the impact that mentoring has. Mentoring has a strong impact on our students, but it is also just as impactful for our mentors. And so we survey our students and our mentors each year. And what we have found is that 86% of our mentors report feeling more hopeful after match meetings. And I shared a little bit ago that hope is the greatest indicator of success for students, but that carries over to adults as well. And so when you are more hopeful, you're more engaged in what you're doing, you are happier, and you find that success. And so our mentors are more hopeful because of their time spent with their mentee. 83% of our mentors also report feeling more engaged in work or at home after spending time with their mentee. So if you're leaving for 30 minutes to go hang out with your mentee, then when you get back to work, you are more energized and engaged to return to what you're doing. And lastly, 94% of our mentees are proud to be in teammates. And so this is not something that they're embarrassed that this random adult is coming to meet with them every week. They're excited to build that relationship with you, to have you to turn to. I will tell you, I saw my mentee for the first time this school year last week, and she sat down and she said, "I can't wait to talk to you. I'm so glad I finally get to see you because I can tell you all the things that I don't want to tell my friends." And so you get to be a person that they trust and that they rely on, and is just an additional person to be able to count on and know that it's going to be there for them each week. Now, I do want to add, for those of you who may be concerned about the time commitment, if you're committing to the 3 through 12 program, you meet weekly. We do ask that you meet about 24 times throughout the school year. And most school years are about 36 weeks. And so that gives you about 12 weeks or so if you're on vacation, if you're sick, if your mentee is gone. We understand life happens. We're not expecting perfection, but just shooting for about 2/3 of the school year that you're able to make it. Now, if that still seems like too much, our post-secondary program is a little bit more flexible. We ask that you meet twice a month instead of each week. And so it would be once a month in person. And that could be over Zoom or truly in person. And then once a month is just a check-in, whether that's a phone call, an email, or a text, just to see how your mentee's doing. We have mentees waiting in both programs, and so we can be flexible with what works best with your schedule. So if you are interested, the application process is very easy. You'll apply online. We will ask for a background check and for references as part of our screening process, just to make sure that you are all safe adults to work with our students. And then you will attend a 2-hour mentor training that will give you all the information that you need to get started. And once that happens, you'll be able to get matched with your mentee and start those weekly meetings. You will have a coordinator at the school who's going to be your point contact for any questions you have, any support you need. They'll direct you to where the games and the crafts are when you meet with your mentee. And so each school has a designated person to be able to support you, and they will be the ones to get in contact about matching you with a mentee. I hope that you all are interested in being mentors. Like I said, we have a ton of students that are waiting to be matched with a mentor from all kinds of different backgrounds, all kinds of different interests and personalities. It's truly something that feels like an easy commitment, but makes such a big difference in students' lives. So thank you so much for listening about teammates, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tori. We'll move into our final presenter today, who is Morgan Rycraft, who is the manager of Youth Mart, a cost-free resource market that serves young adult former foster youth, otherwise known as YAFFY, in the Omaha area. Youth Mart is part of the Partnership for Hope Collaborative that offers ongoing support for young adults who have aged out of the foster care system through mentoring opportunities, the Youth Mart resource market, and the Cole French Education Fund. Hello and welcome, Morgan.
Hi. I do not have a PowerPoint or anything either. I will just kind of run through kind of the 4 pillars of our Partnership for Hope organization. We operate as a collaborative kind of model. So we have about 18 partner organizations from the Omaha area that all serve young adult former foster care in some capacity. There's a huge variety of different young adults in that community. So we see young adults from Project Harmony, from the state of Nebraska, Angel Share, I think there's 18 of them now. So we get these young adults that are all involved in their programming, that get connected with the Partnership for Hope Collaborative. It's to kind of build an ongoing support network for these young adults. So that means basically the parts of the programming that they're working with their actual like caseworkers and social workers, that kind of tend to fall through the cracks is what Partnership does. So we have our 4 pillars. The Youth Mart, which is what I manage, is a cost-free resource market for these young adults. So when they secure housing, they can come to the Youth Mart and shop for furniture, household essentials, hygiene products, food pantry items, baby items, basically anything that they could need to get set up in their first apartments. We provide all of those items to them for no cost, and we allow that as an ongoing basis. Our second pillar is our mentoring program, which sounds like it's a lot like the Teammates program. Again, just specifically focusing in the former foster youth. So our young adults, they are adults. They are in their late teens into early 20s. We serve up to the age of 25. So the mentors really are just a trusted adult, and someone to do exactly like what the other mentoring program we just heard about was, but with adults specifically. So a lot of times you get into more like budgeting, household maintenance, parenting assistance, even just having a trusted adult is something that these young adults are not always very familiar with. So we offer those mentoring programs through our Partnership for Hope Collaborative. We also offer peer-to-peer mentoring. So other former foster youth who have gone through our programming or gone through our partners programming, we can also pair those young adults with other young adults. So they kind of are building those networks of young adults their age that have had similar experiences with them, and those lived experiences of having been through the foster care system or experiencing adoption situations. We really want to provide a network where they can collaborate with people who have same lived experiences with them. We also have an educational fund, the Cole French Educational Fund. It's named after one of our young adults who passed through our programming, who unfortunately passed away at a very young age. But we've started a fund in his name to allow emergency funding for these young adults as they go through college. So many of our young adults are in school, either usually here in the Omaha area at Metro or at UNO, and life happens. And so although they may have benefits that help them with other living expenses or scholarships or grant funding or Pell Grants or any of those kinds of things that help them pay for school directly, a lot of times the network is not there to help them with emergent things like the air conditioning went out in my apartment or my car broke down. So our educational fund helps with those emergency costs to kind of get them back on their feet or help them maintain their housing while they continue through school. And then lastly, the truck brigade is the 4th pillar of our collaborative. This is the part where we deliver everything to them. So this is a volunteer group of about 10-ish core folks that volunteer on a weekly basis every single Friday morning to deliver the items that the young adults shopped for in the Youth Mart. We bring them to their homes. So when Youth Mart was first founded, young adults would come and shop and they would pick out what they need and they'd get their couch and they'd pick out these big items, and then they would try to secure like a pickup or a box truck and realize that either they didn't know anyone with one or they couldn't afford to rent a truck. And so the items would sit in the shop for a length of time and then they would never come and get them because they didn't have a way to get them. So the truck brigade is a bunch of volunteers who have their own pickup trucks and volunteer their time and their gas money and their vehicles to deliver those large items and help drive them to the young adults' apartments and carry them inside for them. That is like our biggest ongoing volunteer need. It's a challenging one to secure volunteers because it's very physically demanding. We don't ask that volunteers need their own pickup or their vehicle. We have enough trucks. It's specifically the lifting aspect that's very challenging to get folks to ride along and help do the deliveries. As it stands, our dedicated crew of guys that have been doing it for about a decade now, they're all retirees. So they're getting into their 70s and some are even in their early 80s, and they are delivering furniture every single Friday morning. So that is amazing. And they love doing the work. It's just becoming more and more challenging as that core group of gentlemen gets older to have them carrying couches and everything. So we understand that that's an ongoing challenge because it has to occur on Friday mornings because that's when the caseworkers are available within our collaborative. Again, when you have 18 different organizations all trying to get together, it kind of has to be at this time on this day. So that's something where if you ever want to deliver couches on a Friday morning, text me and I'll put you to work. We have volunteer opportunities in our Youth Mart as well. That is specifically like sorting and organizing donations that come into our warehouse. We are not a traditional donor center in the sense that we just take everything and then they can come. We are very intentional in which items we take, based on quality and based on how useful it is for the demographic of young adults we serve, and based on how much space we have. Our mart is located on the Omaha Home for Boys campus, and that is generously donated to us by them. It actually was founded at OHB as kind of its own separate thing, and then eventually became part of the Partnership for Hope Collaborative in 2018, which is really cool because we're able to kind of expand what that goal is. It just, we are so limited by space. So when you're trying to keep, 10 couches and 12 dressers and 50 people's worth of clothes and 200 sets of sheets all in one space, it takes up space quickly. So there's a lot of work to be done in the warehouse as far as sorting and moving items around and stocking and making sure that things are of good quality. We do not require things to be new that are donated to Youth Mart. However, we are very strict on the quality, just from the sense that we don't want to give our young people trash. We want it to be excellent, high quality items where you can recreate that hand-me-down experience of getting, an ugly couch from your uncle or something, but it needs to be clean and it needs to be odor-free. And our volunteers do a lot of work to make sure that every item we're putting on the shelves for these young adults are high quality, excellent items for these young folks. And then as far as the mentoring opportunities goes, that is something where, like the teammates experience, there's, background checks and some basic information. You get connected with our executive director, Dave James, and they kind of do a training with a couple of our board members and Dave, and they also will spend some time kind of getting to know you and then matching you up with a mentee that's going to be a good fit based on shared interests and kind of what their career goals are or what their current goals are. If you are, an accounting and love math and spreadsheets, then they might match you up with a young adult who is their primary goal for the next year is working on budgeting and keeping track of things, stuff like that. So they will match you up with a young adult who is looking for a trusted kind of mentor and advisor for the things that you're good at and the things that you enjoy working with. We're very flexible as far as how much the time commitment is, all that kind of stuff. You basically just need to be able to pass a background check and have an interest in building a relationship with a young adult who's getting started out in life. Our whole mission in all of this is to just, again, be that resource network for young adults where as they're coming into emerging adulthood, that's a challenging time for everyone. Even if you're one of the most privileged people on earth, it's hard to be 20. It just is. There's so much you have to figure out. And so when you've had experiences in the foster care system, a lot of those networks where you can kind of ease into things just aren't there. You age out and you're on your own, and it's challenging. There's just not that support network there. So by collaborating with so many organizations, we can make sure that these young adults kind of connect those dots and get access to the services that they need and that they're eligible for, through our programming and through our collaborative efforts with others. So that's kind of what I got. If you want to volunteer, you just reach out to me via text. Again, we're very, very flexible, and we spend a lot of time assuring people that it's not as intense as it sounds. It's really something that you kind of have to see it and experience it. So we do a lot of tours, we do a lot of chatting just over the phone or via text about what's going to be the best volunteering fit. And we'll find something for you to do in our organization. So that's what I got.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Morgan. We're now going to kind of move into that Q&A session. So Augusta, are there any questions in the chat that we can, that we have?
Yes. So some of them have been answered already. We have a couple for Savannah. Someone asked, what is the starting age for the summer camp? And it sounds like Savannah said it's campers must be 3 years old to sign up. Volunteers must be 13. Does that answer your question? Do you have any follow-ups for Savannah? Perfect. Okay, and then the next one was can groups volunteer, for example, a unit or department? And it sounds like yes, volunteers can, oh, never mind. Volunteers can only volunteer with the department. They don't typically have a one-time opportunity to do so, but do make some exceptions. Do you want to add anything to that, Savannah?
I was just a little confused about the question. I hope I answered it correctly, but if not, please ask and I can definitely clarify. At first I thought she was asking if they could volunteer, or if they were asking if they could volunteer in any department, but it's only the recreation therapy department that I'm responsible for. Jackie Hankins is in charge of community engagement and offers provides volunteer opportunities for people to help out with events within MMI. So I could get her information on here if I needed to. But then for like a group, we sometimes have groups come in, but it's usually to help like clean up our garden or clean some of our rooms or clean our pool deck. Not really, they wouldn't get to work with the kids or participants really, just because it would be too challenging to have a whole group come in just for a one-time event.
Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Looks like we have a couple of questions for Tori as well. Someone asked, where are the meeting locations?
Yep, so all meetings will take place at the school where you're meeting with your mentee. So I mentor at a Millard High School, and so each week I show up at the high school and meet with my mentee. Typically there's somewhere designated within the school, whether that's the library, a counseling center, maybe it's the cafeteria or a specific teammate's classroom, but you'll have somewhere designated at the school that you mentor to be able to meet with your mentee. We don't ever do outside of school meetings unless it's a specific teammate's sponsored event. And that's just for the safety of everybody involved.
Thank you. Okay, and then it looks like a link was also provided on how to sign up to be a mentee, a mentor.
And I will also drop the teammates website in the chat if anybody wants more information.
Okay, the next couple of questions are for Morgan. Someone asked for the link. I think that has been provided. Yep.
Yep, I put the link on there. I'll throw my phone number on there as well. Texting me is a really great way to get a hold of me if you have questions or want to volunteer. So I'll put that back on there for everyone as well.
Awesome, thank you. And then someone asked, is it possible to recruit with local UPS and local delivery companies for people to help deliver those items?
Yeah, we do have a few ongoing like corporate volunteer teams, which is great. The drawback is specifically I don't have a lot of difficulty finding volunteers to do warehouse work because that's just a lot of like unpacking and sorting. And we really don't struggle to get mentors for the most part either. We have a pretty good supply of that. Truck brigade is very specifically the part that's very challenging for us. And that's why we're really working with universities to try to get kind of younger folks who are more likely to be just physically able to do the physically demanding side of the volunteer work. That's specifically the challenge, is finding people who are available on Friday mornings, during the workday. We understand that that's absolutely a challenge. And that's just something that we have to work with. Occasionally we will do a Saturday, like if we're trying to catch up, especially if weather kind of gets in our way and we have a whole bunch of deliveries that piled up, we'll try to throw in a Saturday shift. So we will post about those shifts as well, like on our Facebook page and on our website, to kind of try to keep volunteers apprised at when they could just drop in to help out. But that's unfortunately just the challenging nature of the work we do.
Thank you for that clarification. Does anyone else have any questions for Savannah or Tori or Morgan? Or did I miss anything in the chat? All right, I'll hand it back over to Kelsey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for helping with that, Augusta. And just thank you all so much for joining us today for our first quarterly membership forum. We appreciate you being here. And again, special thanks to Savannah, Tori, and Morgan for taking time out of your schedule to talk a little bit more about your organization and volunteer opportunities. Just quickly, one reminder, please fill out our membership survey. That will close next Friday, the 29th at 5. But also for anyone who may be new here today and you enjoyed our session, we'd love for you to consider joining our ERG. So there is a QR code on this screen here. It'll take you to our membership form. And by filling that out, you'll receive our monthly newsletter and calendar invites for future events. So I will leave this up here for a little bit. But again, thank you all so much for joining us today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.